Welcome everyone. Welcome to the Carolinas Association of Collegiate Registrars and Admissions Officers Virtual College Fair. We have an awesome lineup of institutions for you to hear from this evening. But before I turn it over to them, I do have a couple of housekeeping items for you. Number one, this is a webinar, so your camera and your microphones are off, so our panelists cannot see or hear you this evening. Two, this is being recorded and will be available for playback within 1 week at strivescan.com/Carolinas. And next, we know that you're going to have some questions, and so we do hope that you'll put those questions in the Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen. Please list your question and then also note the college or university that you're directing your question to so that our panelists can answer appropriately. So up first, you're going to have the opportunity to hear from John Cabot University. Take it away whenever you're ready.
Thank you very much. Let me start my timer. Cool. Hello, so my name is Ramsey. I'm an admissions counselor for John Cabot University, which is an American university in the heart of Rome, as it says. And I actually graduated from there. So if you guys have any questions about either of those, just let me know. But let's jump right in. So a few things to know right off the bat. We are just over 1,000 students. So usually we're around 1,400 students in non-COVID times. Right now, we're just over 1,000, but we do have students from over 70 countries. So it's a very multicultural environment. But small class sizes, 15:1 student to professor ratio. You really get to know your professors, and I can definitely attest to that. Especially if you're there for 4 years or 3 years, like I was a transfer student. You'll definitely repeat some professors over those years, so you'll really get to know them. But like I said, we're an American accredited university, so you can definitely bring that degree back to the US, just like earning a degree anywhere in the US, but you get to live in Rome for 4 years. But yeah, I'll touch on the campuses and the tuition and all of that. So a few things that kind of set us aside, I think that is our on-site learning and learning by doing can be summed up in experiential learning. And there's endless opportunities for that in Rome. I mean, Rome is such a good resource to have as a student. You can learn about something as much as you want in the class or in a textbook, but when you actually get to go outside and learn through one of your experiences, that actually sticks with you, not only just for an exam, but forever. So I think that's the best way to learn. But it's still an American style learning environment. So nothing too crazy. Curriculum, GPA, all of those things are going to be exactly the same what you're used to, but in an Italian setting. And our professors really reflect the student body in that they're from so many different backgrounds, PhDs in some of the best universities in the world. So a lot of them are in Rome specifically to be teaching at John Cabot. So they're pretty dedicated to making the experience special. But yeah, so COVID-19 is definitely a thing, as we all know, but Italy has been doing all right, and especially for fall 21, we're looking pretty good. Even this past fall and spring, we've been somewhat in person and hybrid model, and we're being super lenient with refunds and deposit refunds, everything. But yeah, we're following all the laws, making sure everything is safe as possible, but fall 21 and going forward is looking pretty good as of now. But yeah, so we have 14 majors and 19 minors. I studied communications when I was there, and I minored in humanistic studies. And we also have a few support services for our students. I definitely use the Writing Center quite a lot. You do a lot of writing in a liberal arts institution. So here's our list of majors. If you guys have questions about any of those, let me know. And then we have these as minors, as well as like mathematics and philosophy and a few others. So something big at John Cabot is our career services. We have partnerships with over 650 companies in and outside of Rome. And 3 times a year, we invite some of these companies to our campus, and you're able to, put yourself in that environment, not only as an professional environment, but an internationally professional environment. And you can talk to some companies, some organizations, see what they're looking for in an applicant, maybe get an interview. And as you can see, over 80% of the students who get interviewed actually get the position. Because they know John Cabot and they know the type of students that we send them. So it's a very, very common thing at John Cabot if you get some professional experience before you even graduate. But But yeah, because we're not a giant school, we put a lot into our student-led clubs and organizations. We have so many different clubs, from fashion club to photography to newspaper and theater society, and so many different ones. I think it's what you bring to the table. Just like Rome, there's so many different things to do. It's just about what your interests are, what your hobbies are. We do a lot of trips and activities, again, going back to our environment. We do day trips and even weekend trips to further places around Rome. And these things are all done by John Cabot. So a lot of these places you wouldn't be able to get to without a car or a bus or something like that. So it's nice that John Cabot sets that up. And a lot of activities that are highly ingrained in like the Italian culture and the Italian lifestyle. We do have athletics. Soccer is our biggest athletic team because it's Italy, but they play against other universities and have tournaments and things like that. But we also have basketball, volleyball, cheerleading squad, and a few other smaller sports. But yeah. So our tuition for the full year is just under $27,000, and that is including the health insurance and the meal plan. And then we also have our own need-based and merit-based scholarships, as well as we also accept the FAFSA. So there's a few different ways to kind of bring down that tuition. Biggest merit-based scholarship is $9,500 a year, so definitely a huge help. And as you can see, over 85% of our students do receive a scholarship from John Cabot. So hopefully you can get some from us, get some from the FAFSA. So I'm running out of time. I'll just run through these pictures of the campus a little bit. Our campus is like an urban campus, so a few buildings near each other in the heart of Rome. But when you're outside the buildings, you're just in the streets of Rome, and that's kind of the best part. But yeah, in these buildings, we have our cafeteria, our library, our auditorium. We even have our own art studio. So if you're into taking, drawing or sculpting, or I took my photography classes here. So we also have our own housing, our own apartments. They're all apartment style. There's a few different options that are just different in location, but they're all apartment style, all 24-hour security. In our residential life building, there's a fitness center, full gym area to do yoga classes and things like that. So yeah, applying is just like applying to any other international university or in any other American university. And we are on the Common App, and this year we've gone test optional. All right, forgot to turn that off. But anyways, that's my time. Thanks, everyone.
Ramsey, thank you so much to you and John Cabot University. Audience, don't forget, you can put those questions in the Q&A at any point. Next up, you have the opportunity to hear from Macquarie University. Take it away, Leanne, whenever you're ready.
Perfect, thank you. Hopefully I have that all good. My name is Leanne Allen and I represent Macquarie University, which is in Sydney, Australia. Sydney is a stunning city, as you can see here. It's got about 5 million people, so a relatively good sized city in terms of population, but not massive. The university itself is located about 20 minutes from the downtown area of Sydney. So best of both worlds, that big cosmopolitan city experience with the wonderful beaches, as you can see here. And then you can retreat back to campus, which is a stunning parkland university. We have about 40,000 students on campus, and of that, there are about 12,000 international students. So a very diverse student population, which is certainly one of my favorite things about campus as well. And Sydney is also a top 10 best student cities in the world. So we're very well known for sort of having an experience that students will love. That first image there is our Macquarie. The university is named after Lachlan Macquarie, who was the 5th governor of New South Wales, and he was from Scotland, hence why our Macquarie is in a Scottish quilt. That second picture is our Health and Aquatics Centre, which is one of 2 swimming pools. Now, weather does allow outdoor pools. If it's below 60 degrees in winter, we'll complain it's too cold. If it's above sort of 90 degrees in summer, we'll complain it's too hot. So we really like a mild temperate climate in Sydney. It's not too humid either, which is nice. You can expect to find a lot of clubs and associations and activities on campuses as well, just as you would expect from a US institution. We have over 140 clubs available, and I definitely recommend that students make the most of joining as many as possible. That picture at the bottom in the middle there is our incubator hub, which is designed especially for students to help spur their entrepreneurial spirit. So if you have an idea that you want to bring to life, the university is behind you 100%. We also have an orientation week, which happens in the first week of every semester. When you first arrive in Sydney, we will pick you up from the airport and take you back to campus as well. And you'll be able to enjoy that orientation, get to know campus, the academics, and all student life prior to starting the week later. So in Australia, our degrees are actually 3 years in duration. We don't have general education requirements, but for students that are transferring, we try and transfer as many of those gen eds as we can towards your elective classes. Our most popular programs are our business administration, international business. We specialise in media and communications, and our faculty of arts is top 100 globally ranked for teaching liberal arts classes. We also have really strong international relations and criminology, including cybersecurity as part of that. We have a strong engineering program and actually specialise in software and telecommunications engineering. And fun fact for you, Macquarie actually invented Wi-Fi, so you're welcome. We also have a really great earth and environmental science class. So if you're thinking climate change or sustainability, Australia and Sydney is an incredible place to do that. And finally, our Bachelor of Clinical Science, Doctor of Medicine is a flagship program, which is a 6-year degree program, which leads you to be a doctor at the end of it. We certainly do have on-campus accommodation options, and there's quite a few different options depending on what lifestyle you want and how much sort of money you want to put to it essentially. Generally, you'll have your own bedroom and sometimes you'll have your own bathroom as well. We do have meal plans at Macquarie, but they are associated with your accommodation provider. So if you don't stay on campus, you don't get a meal plan, but if you do want one, you just need to make sure you choose an accommodation provider that does have one. So how much does it all cost? A lot of students must think it's so expensive considering often education here in the States is really expensive, but it's surprisingly not compared to a lot of schools. So our average tuition is about $24,000 per year. And we recommend students have access to $15,000 to live comfortably in Australia. So that covers your flights, accommodation, insurance, all that fun stuff. So cost of attendance is about $40,000 all in. Do remember, generally it's a 3-year degree program, but if you are transferring your credits from community college, it may come down to 2 or even 1.5 years in duration. You are able to use US financial aid when you study with us, and we do have merit-based scholarships as well. And you can work while studying. A minimum wage is about $19 an hour, which is pretty good. So how to apply? You apply direct to the university website. It's a free online application, probably take you about 10-20 minutes to complete. Make sure you tick yes to requesting recognition of prior learning, because that would mean we then look at your transcript to determine which of those previous classes you have taken can be transferred over to the Macquarie degree. We may require the syllabus, but we'll let you know during that application process which ones we do need. So do keep that in mind if you are studying now, to keep those syllabuses, because they may come in handy. So once you have, as part of that application process, we just require your passport and transcripts. And if you've studied for less than 1 year, we require your test scores like ACT, AC, SAT, ACT. But if you haven't had them because of COVID, that's okay. We'll just look at your high school transcripts. We don't require essays or recommendation letters either, because it is very much an academic-based process. So that will save you a little bit of time, which is nice. You'll get a response to your application within about 2 weeks of submitting it. And at that point, you can apply for scholarships, financial aid, and accommodation. And then you accept your place in the program, get your visa, book your flights, and come join us in Sydney. Being in the Southern Hemisphere, our dates are a tiny bit different. We start in the February and the July of every year, and some classes can actually commence in the November if you want to do that. It's about 50-50 as to whether students do start in the February or July intake. So it's completely up to you as to which one you would want to start. That is it from me. Thanks so much for joining. Here is my contact details, and I'd be delighted to answer any of your questions. Thanks.
Leanne, thanks so much to you and Macquarie University. Next up, I have the opportunity to introduce American University Paris. Take it away, Mary Catherine.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Let's see, I'll go ahead and share my screen real quick. Okay, so I'm Mary Catherine Knoll, Assistant Director of Admissions with the American University of Paris. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about AUP. So AUP is a 4-year American University located in the center of Paris. So with that, you will have a US degree. If you're transferring from a US institution, it's going to be just the same experience you would experience if you were going to another US institution. So it's going to be that same degree program that you're used to, the same type of curriculum. It's just going to be located in central Paris. With that, we do have an international student body that we're really, really proud of. About 50% of our students do come from the United States, 30% from the continent of Europe, and about 20% from the rest of the world. With that, though, we like to say it's kind of an interesting mix because a lot of our students are coming in with international experience already, or they have experience traveling or studying abroad, something like that. Or even if they don't, they do want to have that experience, and that's why they're coming to AUP. We like to call our students global explorers. We really put an emphasis on exploring new cultures, experiencing new things, and getting all of that experience in while you are studying internationally. In the classroom, most of our classes are going to have less than 20 students. We have a student faculty ratio of 9:1. So your class sizes will be pretty small, especially as you get more specialized into your particular degree. You're going to be able to know your professors really well. Students have told me that they have their professors' phone numbers, that they can talk to them really easily. And then when it comes time to ask for things like letters of recommendation or advice on your career goals, you'll know your professors really well. They'll be working in that field and it'll be a great resource for you. All of our classes are taught in English, so you do not have to speak French to come to AUP. But if you want to take advantage of the immersion opportunity, a lot of our students do take French courses while they're at AUP and then practice their French outside since they're in Paris. We have 26 different majors that you can choose from at AUP. All of them are going to come from a global perspective. So like I talked about, we're global explorers, and that continues into the classroom as well. So with each of these, you're going to have an international spin on them and kind of get into a little bit more discussion-based courses. You know, like I talked about, they're smaller classes. So it's not just going to be like sitting down and having somebody lecture to you and having to memorize things. It's a lot more about going in depth and getting to know exactly what you're studying rather than just memorizing it. Okay, so our campus, I've kind of mentioned that we are located very centrally in Paris. We're in the 7th arrondissement, which is very close to the Eiffel Tower. So you're going to be in a great location, very central location. We are an urban campus, so that means that we don't have just like one big building right there for our campus. It's going to be a couple of different buildings throughout the area, and it's about a 10-minute walk. We like to say a 10-minute leisurely walk tops to get to all your classes. So you'll have plenty of time in between classes to get from one building to the other if you need to. A lot of our students say that they'll stop at a bakery on the way. It's a really great location, very historic neighborhood where you're going to see a lot of those things that you would want to see when you come to Paris. Those beautiful historic buildings, lots of history, great architecture, and a really safe neighborhood as well. So it's a fantastic location for our campus. Now, like I talked about earlier, we do have a little bit more in depth with our classes where we like to have those discussion bases. And then to take it a step further, we do offer study trips. So these study trips are going to give you a chance to take what you're learning in the classroom and go on a trip and experience something like that, kind of furthering that global explorer experience, and just kind of get to see what you're learning in the classroom in a hands-on setting. We do offer housing. So like I said, we're an urban campus, so our housing is going to be in the urban location as well. We have apartment style, we have residence hall style, and then also what we're calling like a villa style. So it's a lot of different options that you can choose from. Transfers are not required to live in housing through AUP Housing, but if you want to have that option, the housing office is there and you can book through them. So for our application process, it's pretty standard, either the Common App or through our website with our AUP application. You'll submit 2 essays, your list of activities like a resume, 2 letters of recommendation. One of those needs to be from an academic source, your transcripts, and we are test optional, so you do not have to do that. To get into a little bit more transfer specific, you need at least 12 credit hours to be considered a transfer student, and we do allow you to bring in up to 64 credits. If you've taken under 45 credit hours, you will need to turn in your high school transcripts as well, and then you'll submit transcripts from all of the colleges that you have attended. To kind of get into this a little bit more. If you have any questions about that, you can just reach out to me. I know transfer situations can be a little specific. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. So this is our cost of attendance chart, and we've added in the cost of living, which includes, of course, like your housing estimation and different just daily costs that you're going to need to prepare for when you're coming to Paris. To offset those costs, we do have scholarships and loans. You'll apply through this by submitting a financial aid application, which will qualify you for both financial aid and for scholarships as well. Transfers are eligible for all of the same scholarships that first-year students are eligible for, so there's no difference there. And then for our alumni outcomes, 94% of our graduates are either in graduate school or employed within a year, and 80% of them have an international element in their career. So I think I'm about to run out of time. So here is my contact information if you have any other questions for me. Thanks.
Mary Catherine, thanks so much to you and American University Paris. Our final presentation tonight will be from the University of Melbourne.
Okay, good day, everyone. This is Todd St. Vrain from University of Melbourne. It's only a 13-hour flight from the West Coast, and it's already 9 a.m. tomorrow, so happy Friday to you. Welcome to UniMelb, or as we say in the local Aboriginal language, Wominjeka. So Melbourne is a large public research-intensive university in the southern part of Australia, about an hour and a half south of Sydney by flight. As you can see, we're a comprehensive university, and a wide range of subjects really excel with global recognition in terms of their achievements. This is the beautiful Great Barrier Reef, which is about a 4-hour flight north of Melbourne. Imagine taking classes with Madeleine Van Oppen, who is bioengineering heat-resistant coral in an effort to save the Great Barrier Reef from global warming. This is just one example of the kind of academic experience you can have at a university that is regarded as an Australian version of an Ivy League, or a UNC Chapel Hill in North Carolina, which is one of our partner institutions. This is our main campus, which is located right in the heart of Melbourne, about 15 minutes from downtown, in between the biomedical precinct and our version of Little Italy. So one thing I love about Australia, it's a very multicultural country. Our international students represent nearly half of our student body. We're very large with over 25,000 full-time students. And we do have a community of several hundred Americans if you want to stay connected with the home culture that way. We have great outcomes in terms of graduate, your completion of career outcomes. All international students have the ability to stay and work for 2 years after graduation, which just gives you options in terms of where you would start your career. So as Leanne mentioned, degrees in Australia are just 3 years, which is a savings in itself, and you might be able to get a lot of up to a year, year and a half of credit. Our tuition at the current exchange rate is going to be about $33,000 US. We would estimate another 15 to 20,000 for living expenses. And yes, you can use FAFSA US educational loans at the University of Melbourne. So admissions is based just on academic achievement. So again, no personal statements, references. We'll get into details of this in just a moment. And you're doing all of this in the great city of Melbourne, 4 million people, 4 seasons, sometimes 4 seasons in a day, regarded as Australia's cultural and sports capital. So we have streamlined our degrees into 8 options. Within that, 150 majors and minors. So this could be a Bachelor of Agriculture. We call the liberal arts and humanities a Bachelor of Arts, and I've put into bold some of the more popular majors here. Entire degree in biomedicine, we call business commerce. There's design, fine arts, music, and a plethora in the sciences, including engineering and IT, as well as the life sciences. So we call degrees courses in Australia. So you have to learn to speak Australian English. If you go to our Find a Course page, you can explore it because your interest will probably be more than one major and possibly more than one degree. Now, we are the only Australian university that has anything approaching Gen Ed, so 25% of your studies are outside of your degree of anything you're choosing called breadth subjects. So this also might help facilitate some of that transfer of your Gen Ed from the United States. And we also have options to extend to fourth year if you want to do things like the year of independent research honors. All right, for transfer students, entry is really straightforward. It's just an unweighted 3.0 from a college or university, and there's only a handful of degrees that have certain prerequisites. You would want to, when you apply for advanced standing, and you would need to include the syllabus of your courses, your subjects, so that we can facilitate that transfer credit. If there's any high school students out there lurking on this presentation, we base admissions based on SAT or ACT, your GPA, and APs. So please get in contact if you'd like more details as well for that. So as Leanne mentioned, it's different down under. Semester 1 starts in March, semester 2 starts in July. You could actually start in either semester. It's really flexible. Starting this year does mean starting online, and we're waiting to see about what the policy will be for the borders in 2022. It's a parallel universe in Australia with like 5 cases of COVID per week nationally. Our application deadlines are a bit different. You actually would have up until June of this year to apply for the July start. So my advice is just apply on when you're applying to U.S. universities, because we offer rolling admissions. And we also have the ability to defer, which is quite standard in Australia. We are going to end, we also have accommodation, which is guaranteed. And we also have lots of clubs and sports. We'll just finish with a brief campus tour, which again has lovely sandstone buildings, wide open spaces, some really modern facilities and labs. Have to stop off at the car park because we do things like have Mad Max movies in there. And this is the city of Melbourne, and also easy access to some really stunning nature. I'm based in San Francisco, so please get in touch if I can assist you further on the University of Melbourne. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Todd. Now I'd like to ask all of our presenters tonight to turn back on your cameras and share a little bit more about your institutions. So we'll go round robin in the same order that you presented. What is your favorite event or tradition on campus? And Ramsey, you're up first.
Mine would have to be the little gala we have at the end of the year for upperclassmen. It's basically you get to dress up really nicely and kind of have this fancy night at a villa at the top of Rome and get to see the entire city at night. So that's pretty cool.
At Macquarie, we celebrate Conception Day or week, which is when the university was signed into being, and it's a week-long music and arts festival, which is always a lot of fun.
At AUP, we have a World's Fair, which is kind of like a food festival where we have different tables set up, and it's showing all these different foods and aspects of different cultures from all around the world. And it's really cool because like my favorite things, different cultures and different foods, and it's really awesome.
At University of Melbourne, I would say it's the weekly farmers market on campus, which also has a lot of great food stalls, usually some live music. It's a great way just to kind of hang out and take a break from the studies.
Okay, I'm going to ask you another question. Give an interesting or fun fact about your school, and we'll go in that same order.
Well, if you're wondering, what type of student John Cabot looks for and who gets accepted, John Cabot was an explorer. So that's the type of student we're looking for.
I shared mine already, the funnest fact being that we invented Wi-Fi. But because it's Earth Day, I will also say the university was recently ranked top 100 globally for our sustainability practices.
I think my favorite fun fact about AUP is that if you're interested in doing something a little bit different with athletics, in our athletics office, you can go through them and do parkour lessons, which I've been too scared to try, but they sound awesome.
So Nicole Kidman and Kate Blanchett both did some acting studies at the University of Melbourne, and Julia Gillard studied arts and law, and she went on to become Australia's first Prime Minister. So you never know who you might become or who your future classmates at University of Melbourne might become.
Awesome. And now I'm going to try to tap into your expertise. And if you were going to give advice to someone going through the transfer process, what advice would you give? And we'll start with Ramsey first again.
I was actually a transfer student, so definitely just don't be afraid. I was at a university in the States, and I had no idea that I was going to go to Rome. And then my mom just put the idea in my head, and it changed my life. So just look outside what you would usually do. Could change your trajectory.
I think there'll probably never be a time in your life again where you have so much freedom and can go and explore every corner of the world. So if the thought of completing your degree overseas is a little too much to sort of comprehend, make sure you at least do a study abroad or a summer or a winter or some sort of international experience, because you will never regret it.
I was a transfer student as well, and I think transfer students have a really cool advantage where they have already experienced some of that collegiate life. So you maybe know what you like, what you don't like, what you would like to be different, etc. And just kind of take that knowledge that you have and be really particular in your search, and take advantage of people like us who can answer your questions and make sure that you are finding the right fit for you.
I would say for University of Melbourne, again, apply for advanced standing if you want to get that transfer credit. Also, yes, we'd love you to come, but if you don't wind up coming, maybe consider coming abroad, going abroad for your graduate studies. We also have these things called working holiday visas, where you can come and spend a year working and traveling the country as a way to get out, just get out there and experience the world, definitely.
Such wonderful advice. Thank you guys so much for joining us this evening. As you close out, there'll be a quick 4-question survey, so we hope that you'll provide us with some feedback. The recording of the session and all the sessions that happened this evening will be available at strivescan.com/Carolinas within 1 week. Best wishes to all of you in your college search process. Bye-bye.